welcome to our wonderful stage and welcome everyone here.
Yeah, I've never been in such an extreme minority. But it's a great
Welcome.
learning. Yeah.
Get used to it. And I can just run through as well. So Patrik, you are the CEO of Accenture Sweden.
Yes.
Linda Sallander, you are the partner and CEO of EY Sweden. Lilly Vasanthini, you are the VP for the Eastern side, Europe, Nordics.
Long one.
Everything. You're the VP. You're a big deal in the Infosys world. And Åsa, you are the strategic advisor for diversity and inclusion at Nordea.
That's correct.
So everyone knows just how important that we have these leaders on board. So I'm going to start first with you, Patrik. When social and political climate around DEI shifts, as it has in various ways across the recent years, what happens internally in your organization? How do you navigate those changes?
Yeah, I think no one has missed the presidential orders, and I think this has put a huge pressure on companies with operations in the US, so I'm quite humble for what they are experiencing. But I believe under the surface, this is so strong in the culture of, I believe, all our companies, so it continues. I think locally here in Sweden, you know, being 52 nationalities only here in Sweden, and almost in gender balance in almost all areas, we were, me and my colleagues, extremely provoked by that presidential order. So I think it took us like one day to agree that we not only should continue to do what we do today, so have it in our targets, measure how we distribute bonuses, salary increases, promotions, etc., but also accelerate in many of these areas, neurodiversity, gender diversity, etc. So that's what we have done. So we moved the other way, what they wanted us to do. So, and I think one addition, because I believe we are in violent agreement on the importance of DEI, and that's what we're trying to focus on, unity and similarities. And I believe also media has a super important role here to not focus as they typically do, I must say, focus on differences and catalyze divergence, but instead then look for unity, and because we are really close to each other in our values in this area.
Yeah, that's because if you look at every single warm heart that's beating here, DEI is not a choice.
No.
It's there and it's to be accepted. And accepting each one of us as human beings here is the best thing that can happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, and I love that you say, you know, we decided to go the opposite way, because it's hard when the headquarters or, you know, a very powerful side of your company wants you to go one way. But we are still here. We are in Sweden. We are in Europe, which has a very strong focus on it. And there's so much that we can continue to do.
And honestly, don't tell anyone, but they did.
It's okay, there's not many people here, don't worry.
No. But they did a few actions, but under the surface, they actually encouraged us to do what's required locally. So it's also a bit of, don't tell anyone, a bit of a theater to the administration and so on. So under the surface, this continues for sure.
Good. The secret's safe with this room. But it's always hard being a leader, and I'll come to you, Linda, because you want to balance staying true to your company's values, but you also need to maintain a strong presence in the market. You need to stay competitive in the market. So how do you manage to balance those two forces?
Well, actually, I don't think that is so contradictory. I mean, we are proud of our values, and we have been a purpose-driven company for many years now, with the purpose of building a better working world. And I don't think that our purpose would exist without DE&I. And honestly, I don't think that we have been so successful without DE&I. So with that said, we stand up for diversity and inclusion regardless of the markets that we serve and regardless of in which direction the wind blows currently, because this is a long-term commitment and it's also crucial for our business and for us to stay relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. Lilly, what is a tangible DEI impact that you've had at Infosys? Because I think we often speak, you know, especially we speak on a bigger scale, we speak very top level, but people want to know, like, okay, what impact is it having in your company by focusing on DEI?
Such a beautiful thought, and I think it's not just for Infosys, it's for every single organization. If I were to speak of Infosys, we are 43 years old, and the very fundamental belief when our founders started the organization was to leverage globalization, right? And we are in such a highly interconnected world today, and for us, DEI is beyond gender, it's beyond political boundaries, and it is about how do you bring in and cross-leverage talent across the world, right? And it means scale. So there are, I mean, I can talk of hundreds of things, but if I were to just pick up 3 of them, I can tell you every single leader carries a DEI goal,
Nice.
right? And I think it can start, and it can only get stronger year after year when we start believing in what we are doing. That's the first part. And the second is, there are so many women today who, for reasons, personal or otherwise, fall off the table of work. And there is a focus on bringing them back into work. Because it makes them empowered, it makes them independent, it sustains them, right? And most important, their dreams come true.
Yeah.
And the third aspect is about learning, right? And while we can talk of technology, while we can talk of different aspects of new things that come into the world today, how we leverage connecting with specialized programs with universities like Stanford or Kellogg's is something that we have been proponent about, encouraging women to learn and also to get into leadership roles. Yeah.
I love that. It's not just a nice to have, it's a must have.
It's a
If you want to
must-have.
be a leader in this company, you have to be focusing on the right things.
Absolutely.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
What about you, Åsa? At Nordea, what tangible impact have you seen DEI have?
It's huge, right? And we all know that DEI is not a destination. It is a journey. And so there can be bumps in the road, but we will get past it. But on that journey, I think we have covered some distance, I have to say. So we have, just as you say, we're a very diverse company with the entire spectrum of diversity in it, and the gender balance is, we take it step by step and so on. So on that part, I think we are moving in the right direction, and that impacts everything we do. Just as all of us, we do have customers, and I think we have between 10 and 11 million customers, and our purpose is to meet and enable people's dreams and aspirations. That is our purpose. And with 10, 11 million customers, you can imagine it's like a diversity of dreams and aspirations. And the better we are in understanding that, the better we will become. So that's a given, right? It's the same purpose for all of us. And we can see that we do have an impact on team performance, on results. We can see that we are moving the needle all the time going forward. And a lot of this has to do with all the great people that we have on board. But it's one thing, talking about diversity and counting heads and gender balance and so on. It's one thing, to count the numbers, and it's another thing to make the numbers count. And that's what you also are into. Yeah. Is every single person needs to have a place, and we need to kind of utilize their power in the best way. So inclusion is, of course, the tool to enable equity, equal opportunities, and so on, because we want Nordea to be the place to be. And on this journey, we have taken steps gradually. And implemented the DEI targets, KPIs, into our entire business strategy, which means that that every leader has, has something to work towards, which I think is such a good example.
Yeah. I see so many similarities amongst all of you, and I think yesterday when we had a discussion, we said that a lot of people would say that your companies are competitors, but actually you see collaboration, you share a lot of customers, you share a lot of employees that move between them. Are there any tangible DEI impacts that you've seen, Linda?
Well, of course, we have a lot of initiatives going on, as you said.
Yeah.
We are all large organizations with muscles to really make a difference.
You had to pick one.
Yeah, okay, so...
I know, I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, okay, so, I mean, I can mention one really exciting thing that we just newly did in EY. So we have newly established a neurodiversity center here in Stockholm.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think that is actually inclusion and making inclusion happen for real. So that's something that we are very proud of.
Amazing. I think that's so important. What about you, Patrik?
Well, I take a different path here. I think what's good here is that the market and our clients are really helping us in this, because if we show up today with a pitch team of white, middle-aged men, we get comments. It's simply not acceptable anymore. So I think we as a company are expected to mirror the clients. Otherwise, they don't feel that we are a good collaboration partner. So for us, it's a ticket to play as well, and to maximize our talent pool, and everyone feels welcome. And I think it's also a value in itself to be 50-50 gender balance, because what we have realized is that the majority sets the norm in a company when it comes to culture, how you evaluate performance, etc., etc. So that's also a purpose for us to strive for 50-50, is to create that prerequisite to have a culture that is really for everyone and not only for a few. So.
Yeah, amazing. And created from the inside, but also you have the external pressures in a good way, as you said, for the ticket to play. And I mean, I'm sure you've probably had some comments or questions where people say, but you're such a big company, you're getting pressure from other areas. Why do you still choose to invest in an organization like Women in Tech? We have a lot of partners who are here today. You four are representing our main partners. So why is it so important for you to continue to support an organization like Women in Tech? Åsa.
Look at this. You have your answer right here. This, beautiful crowd of people. Yeah. We're so happy to be able to been invited to be a partner. Yeah.
What about you, Lilly?
A wonderful place and a great partner to work with, because it's a serious thing that we need to do.
Yep.
And like you said, you just look here and up. It's mind blowing. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's wonderful to work with you all on this initiative here in this region.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You, Linda?
Well, I can just echo what you just said. I mean, the ambience and the positive energy and this strong community that you all created with a safe space for all women in this field. And also, I mean, if this could continue to attract young female people to have a career within tech, I think that's something that we all could benefit from.
True. Amazing.
Of course, I agree with my colleagues here, but I also see that even though we are in gender balance in most areas, we are not in gender balance in all areas. But I think in this audience, we have enough skill quality in order to fix my problems. So feel free to fill the gaps here.
Exactly. Come up and speak to Patrik. I think you can find some excellent female leaders here. And I think as well, it's so important what you mentioned as well. When it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion, that's not just a gender discussion, that's a neurodiversity discussion, that's including people of color, that's including people from all different walks of life. And I think all of those initiatives that you are doing is helping everybody rise up together. So we are very grateful that you all decided to come on stage and speak to our crowd today, and you all have huge booths out there, so we encourage people to go and speak to you for the rest of the day, speak to the team, hear more if you're interested. But first and foremost, thank you so much for taking the time to come today. Give them a big round of applause.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you so much.